Fulani don't fool military, don't fool uniform, don't fool the military. Now then they give them information. Now then they tell them everything. The force, the whole force in Nigeria, Fulani full inside. Bandit full inside. Or now they call them repentant. Repentant this one, repentant this one, repentant this one. Who tell you? Who give that order? Say make those guys, those soldiers who there for that school come out. After 40 minutes, bandits come, carry the whole student, carry the whole school children. Who give the order? Till today we don't know. No be person call them, give order, make them live there. Bandits enter, finish their work, they return back. Who be the person we don't know? Now the country where we dey.
In reviewing the remarks made by General Gabriel Asabuja, it becomes clear that a central theme is personal and communal responsibility. He opens by emphasizing the need for individuals to be mindful of their movement from the present until December, highlighting that travel, whether to schools, farms, or rural areas, requires vigilance. This advice, while simple on the surface, reflects a deeper understanding of the challenges communities face in regions affected by insecurity. By urging people to be their brother's keeper, Asabuja reinforces the idea that safety is not only the responsibility of formal authorities but also of each member of the community. This notion of mutual accountability resonates with long-standing social and ethical norms, where collective well-being is prioritized alongside individual action. In a practical sense, such guidance encourages proactive measures, including monitoring one's surroundings, supporting neighbors, and fostering networks of trust that can enhance security at the local level. Asabuja also frames his guidance within the context of readiness. He repeatedly stresses that he and his men are prepared to act, reflecting a broader commitment to protecting children, communities, and vulnerable populations. This emphasis on preparedness serves multiple purposes. It reassures the public of the existence of protective structures, it models responsible behavior for community members, and it underscores the importance of maintaining awareness at all times. By referencing his own readiness alongside communal vigilance, he creates a narrative in which individuals are encouraged to take proactive steps while trusting that security actors are available to support them. Such framing is particularly important in high-risk environments, where clarity, visibility, and leadership can reduce uncertainty and fear. Religious and moral references feature prominently in the statement, especially through the invocation of biblical advice regarding the sale of property to acquire necessary resources. While this may appear unconventional, it serves as a symbolic reminder of the importance of preparation and resource management in the face of potential adversity. By drawing on spiritual guidance, Asabuja connects practical advice with ethical and cultural frameworks familiar to his audience. This dual approach, blending moral reasoning with pragmatic action, strengthens the message, reinforcing that preparedness is both a practical and ethical responsibility. Importantly, the emphasis is on proactive measures rather than passive reliance on prayer alone, suggesting that spiritual readiness complements, but does not replace, tangible actions to ensure safety. A notable aspect of the remarks is the critical reflection on government and institutional capacity. Asabuja expresses concern that the government may not always provide sufficient protection or timely intervention, highlighting gaps that leave communities vulnerable. While these comments could be interpreted as critiques, they also illuminate the lived experiences of citizens who navigate insecurity daily. By acknowledging these limitations, he implicitly encourages self-reliance and community-based vigilance. This dual focus on institutional awareness and individual preparedness illustrates a nuanced understanding of the relationship between the state and local populations, where cooperation and accountability are essential for effective security outcomes. The statement also addresses the operational challenges posed by armed actors, highlighting the importance of intelligence, situational awareness, and accurate information. Asabuja warns against complacency and stresses the need for vigilance, observation, and careful monitoring of community members and movements. From an analytical perspective, this underscores the interplay between local knowledge and formal security structures. In environments where threats are complex and information may be incomplete, the role of community engagement, verification, and proactive communication becomes crucial. The emphasis on monitoring without inciting fear demonstrates a careful balance between vigilance and responsible action. Furthermore, the repeated exhortation to help yourself is both a call to self-reliance and an acknowledgement of the practical limitations of external intervention. Asabuja emphasizes that individual and communal initiative can directly influence outcomes, reinforcing the idea that citizens play an active role in their own safety. While the phrasing may sound stark, its intent aligns with broader principles of risk management and resilience. Communities are encouraged to take informed, ethical steps to protect themselves, which can include coordination, observation, and strategic planning tailored to local conditions. In addressing past incidents, including kidnappings and attacks, Asabuja highlights the consequences of delayed intervention and the operational challenges faced by security forces. By discussing the movement of armed actors, the planning of attacks, and the responses, or lack thereof, by authorities, he provides a candid account of the complexities involved in ensuring safety. These reflections offer important lessons for both policymakers and communities, emphasizing the importance of coordination, preparedness, and ethical leadership in reducing vulnerability. By presenting these scenarios neutrally and analytically, the remarks serve as a case study in situational assessment, risk communication, and community-based security strategies. As we move deeper into the statement, General Asabuja addresses the realities of confronting armed actors and the operational difficulties faced by security forces in responding to such threats. He draws attention to the intelligence challenges and the importance of accurate, timely information, suggesting that the effectiveness of protective actions depends on both formal authorities and the communities themselves providing reliable data. In his remarks, he stresses that misinformation or incomplete understanding of local dynamics can have significant consequences. From an analytical standpoint, this highlights the complex relationship between local knowledge and formal security operations. Communities often possess insights into local networks, relationships, and movements that external actors or centralized authorities may lack, and integrating this knowledge can strengthen overall safety outcomes. This dynamic illustrates the critical importance of cooperation, trust, and communication between residents and law enforcement or military personnel. Another dimension of the statement focuses on accountability and the perception of governmental responsibility. General Asabuja communicates frustration over instances where state protection may not have much expectations, emphasizing that citizens cannot solely rely on formal institutions for safety. While this critique is direct, it offers valuable insight into the lived experiences of populations in areas affected by insecurity, and it underscores why self-reliance and community vigilance emerge as necessary strategies. From a policy analysis perspective, this reflects broader challenges in governance and resource allocation, highlighting the need for mechanisms that ensure timely, effective, and equitable protection for all citizens. By articulating these points, Asabuja encourages not only proactive community engagement but also informed discourse about how governments and institutions can improve responsiveness and effectiveness in addressing security threats. The speech also emphasizes the moral and ethical dimensions of preparation. Repeatedly, Asabuja calls on individuals to be their brother's keeper, advocating for mutual responsibility, monitoring of neighbors, and collective care. This framing is significant because it ties practical action to cultural and ethical norms, encouraging community members to view vigilance as both a practical necessity and a moral duty. In addition, the repeated emphasis on ethical preparedness can strengthen social cohesion, helping communities develop networks of trust and mutual support that serve as informal safety structures. In contexts where formal security systems are strained or stretched thin, such ethical appeals can complement institutional measures, creating a layered approach to safety that leverages both moral and practical imperatives. Asabuja's remarks on preparedness are particularly notable in his critique of passive approaches to safety, such as relying solely on prayer or fasting. He emphasizes that while spiritual practices may offer personal comfort or moral guidance, they are insufficient in isolation for addressing tangible threats. This distinction between spiritual readiness and practical action highlights a key lesson for communities. Resilience is multifaceted and requires both internal fortitude and external, actionable steps. By advocating for measured, proactive responses alongside ethical and spiritual grounding, the statement encourages a balanced approach that combines moral guidance, situational awareness, and practical intervention. For viewers, this is a critical takeaway, demonstrating that effective safety strategies are not one-dimensional but integrate multiple forms of preparation. The discussion also addresses operational scenarios involving armed actors, particularly referencing the abduction of school children and other high-profile incidents. General Asabuja details the consequences of insufficient intervention and stresses the need for vigilance and proactive engagement to prevent or mitigate such events. From a critical standpoint, these remarks provide insight into the challenges of coordinating security efforts across different layers of society, including formal institutions, local actors, and community networks. By emphasizing preparation, observation, and situational assessment, the statement communicates that safeguarding communities requires both strategic planning and ongoing attention to environmental dynamics. Analysts and policymakers can draw lessons from this approach, understanding how local knowledge, timely communication, and individual initiative can complement broader security frameworks. An additional theme in this section is the importance of self-reliance and personal responsibility. The repeated exhortation to help yourself is not intended to promote isolation or fear, but rather to underscore the principle that individual and communal initiative plays a crucial role in mitigating risk. In practice, this involves maintaining awareness of surroundings, monitoring the movement of community members, and engaging in preparedness measures that align with ethical standards and local norms. From a resilience perspective, such guidance reinforces the idea that communities are not passive recipients of protection but active participants in shaping their own safety outcomes. This is a valuable principle for understanding how grassroots strategies can strengthen formal security measures, creating complementary layers of protection that increase overall resilience. Finally, in this portion of the statement, the repeated references to vigilance, preparedness, and community monitoring highlight the intersection of practical and ethical considerations. By framing these actions as both a moral responsibility and a practical necessity, General Asabuja communicates a multidimensional strategy for safety, one that integrates personal responsibility, community cohesion, ethical engagement, and proactive action. For viewers and analysts alike, this provides a model for understanding how leadership communication can mobilize communities without resorting to fear or inflammatory rhetoric. The emphasis remains squarely on measured, responsible preparation, and the cultivation of networks of trust and mutual support, which are central to effective community resilience. As the speech progresses, it becomes evident that these themes will continue to intersect with discussions of operational challenges, government response, and strategies for safeguarding vulnerable populations.